This week's video, I wanted to go into lifting and rigging stuff. So started out in the back of the truck showing the chains and then went into the compartment that I keep all my lifting straps in. Also was able to look through the CAT dealer service tool catalog to show different part numbers on lifting eyes and lifting straps and stuff. So let's get into the video. Let's start right here in the back of the truck. So one of the things that's really cool about this truck, I don't think this is a maintainer specific thing, but it has this this little chain holder, and then it's got this cover you can put over it, and then you can even put a lock on it right here. But because of these big hooks, it doesn't close all the way, so I can't get a lock on there. I could probably put a cable lock on there or something, but I just choose not to. So then what I use for the main chains is this one is this is a 1/2 inch chain. It's 36 inches long with these big giant hooks. Let's see if I can get it off. It's got these big hooks on it. I mean, I'm sure there's bigger hooks, but it's got these big hooks because what I use this for is these go over track grousers. Like if you're doing a front idler or something, you can put these over the track grousers, and then it gives you a spot to lift up to maneuver the chain. And it's short because that way it doesn't give you, this is all you need. You don't need anything longer. Next to that is this is a ratcheting, one of them ratcheting chain binders. I use this because sometimes I haul couplers or stuff, big cylinders and stuff, and you don't want the cylinder to come apart. So I use that with these chains here, the 3/8 chains, to just secure a load. These two orange hooks, this is a 12-foot 3/8 chain. This is, used for all kinds of general lifting stuff, tying stuff together, pulling tracks, if you got a broken track link or something. And then these two blue hooks, this is an 8-foot chain. I like to have a long one and a short one because sometimes you don't need a very long chain, and a long chain can just be a pain in the butt. So it's nice to have a short one and a long one, and sometimes you need a really long one so then you can hook them together. So I like to have these two are the same size, like as in they're both 3/8 with the hooks, so then you can hook them all together and you can have a really long chain. This one here is a 3/8. It's just a short little chain. It's I think it's about 4 foot, maybe 5 foot long. It just has a hook on one end, and that's for pulling. That's for pulling like if you have to pull tracks, you can stick this through either the hole where the pin goes, or you can wrap it around the track link, and it makes it nice to only have a hook on one end, so it gives you a spot to hook something. This has actually been pretty good. This is the 1.5 ton, the lever hoist, I guess, but it's a chain hoist from Harbor Freight, and this thing actually works pretty good. I mean, the CM ones and the name brand ones are like $700-800. This thing was, I think, $189. I'm sure it's changed. I'll link this down below. And this thing is great. Like, I have had no real issues with it. It's worked really good. This is the second one I've had. We had a guy from the John Deere dealer helping me put tracks on 350, and he actually broke it. But I don't think it was the hoist fault. We were trying to wrap tracks, and he was moving the tracks back and forth, and it got stuck in the sprocket. So that's not, I don't think, this thing's fault. So he replaced that for me. So then I haven't had any issues with this, and I don't use it every day. Like if you use one every single day, yeah, you might get something different. And then the bridle on the end is a 2-leg. It's a 5 foot. Each leg is 5 foot, but then it has these little hooks here, which is nice. So if you can shorten it, but sometimes you need uneven length ends, so then you can, like if you need one longer or one shorter, you can hook it here and you can shorten them up. So that's all the chains here. It's nice too. It's got this little box down here with the drain hole and stuff to keep the chains from rolling in the back of the truck. So let's go down to the compartment underneath the crane, and I'll show you the rest of the lifting stuff. So this is the compartment underneath the crane. It's this little compartment. It's not very big, but it works perfect for all of my lifting stuff. So also in here, this is the crane remote. For the crane, there is manual controls on the back, but this is the remote for it. And then there's that little box. Hopefully you can see that. That little box right there is the interface between this and the hydraulics. So I keep all the rest of the lifting stuff in here. So let me start with, so I'm not really sure the brand on these straps. I had a bunch of straps, and then they were starting to get frayed, so the boss replaced them for me because, straps are a lifting device, so you got to keep them straight. I like to keep two of the same straps. Like if you're lifting an axle or a cylinder or something, it's nice to not have an unequal length. So then are 6x2. I have two of these 6x2 with, they call them flat eyes. So if you can see the eye is like this here, flat with it. But then they have what's called twisted eye, which is where they like, basically it's stitched like this, where the eye is twisted and then it's flat like this. So this is called a flat eye. Two of the bigger ones for lifting like axles and stuff, and then I have one of each of these littler ones for like if you gotta like lift a small pump or something in place, you don't need to. So this one is a 1 by, let me see. It's a 1x6, so it's 1 inches wide. Same thing, flat eye, 6 foot long. It's nice to have a smaller one because if you're just doing something like, say you got to put like a perfect example is like a fan pump on like an 870. The big one, the 2-inch ones are kind of too big and they kind of get in the way. So that's what's nice to have with these ones. And then this one is a 1x6, but it's a continuous loop, which is exactly what it means. It's just one big loop, as where like these are, you know, they're only like, they have 2 ends basically. So that's pretty much it for the lifting straps. That's all I really use for the lifting straps. And then I have a couple of different things here. So these are lifting eyes, which you can get, Cat makes them, or Cat doesn't make them, but Cat sells them. There's a whole bunch of Cat part numbers on them. I'll list the, I'll put the snippet of the Cat part number page. But I got these on Amazon. These are actually fairly expensive. I think the set of 2 of these was like 80. I think the 2 of these was like $80-something. I'll link those down below. And then here's kind of a, I don't know, controversial question. What do you call these? So I've always called these a shackle. But when I was in Hawaii, I was like, shackle. And those guys are like, that's a clevis. So is it a clevis? Is it a shackle? I don't know. But a couple of these are good. So these are rated. Here it says, let's say 3¼ tons. But, and this one's 5/8. But what's funny is these actually came off of a 470. If 470 comes in brand new, it doesn't have a boom on it or a stick or a counterweight or anything. And they're holding the boom cylinders up with, they have a big cable that holds the boom cylinders up. So I snatched those. They were just throwing them away. So I have 2 of those. The other one's there. And the other lifting eye is there. And then I just keep some bolts in here because sometimes you need, like, the other day I was lifting out a DPF. And it's got just some holes, you know, in the DPF bracket. So then you just get some bolts just to use the lifting eyes with. That's pretty much all I keep in here for the lifting stuff. I do have one more thing, which is over here in the bumper. It's the cable come along, I guess. Let me show you that. So here's my cable come along. This is it's like a Nico brand. It's NECKIO or something. I don't know. I bought it on Amazon, but I picked this one because it has the snatch block on it, and you can do a line pull. So you can unhook this here, and you can just do a straight line pull if you want, or you can hook this back over here, and then it's basically a double snatch block. I don't use this all that much just because it's honestly not the safest tool, and I like the cable or the chain come along better, but it is still handy. Sometimes you need to use it. Sometimes you need 2 come-alongs or whatever. So it is something you can use, but I would probably not recommend buying one of these unless you had an exact use for it. And this one too, for some reason the reason I don't really like this one is you have to push to engage the pawl. Like, it doesn't stay engaged, so sometimes you need like a third hand just to operate this thing. But these are handy if you know exactly what you have a use for it, but I don't use it all that often, but I keep it in here because, you know, you never know when you need it. We are here in the what is this called? It is the Caterpillar Dealer Service Tool catalog from 2021. 2021 is the newest catalog, so there isn't a newest one yet. They haven't come out with one yet. So endless slings, here's the first part. You can see that those are the ones that I showed you. That's just a complete circle, so different lengths. So the 1U numbers, and then it's 1 inches. These are all 1, 3, 2, 4 inches wide, and there's different lengths. You can see there it says lengths 3, 4, 6, 8, 8 different lengths there. If you scroll down a little bit, eye-to-eye slings. Those are the ones that are I call them flat eyes. Cat calls them eye-to-eye, obviously, but that's the flat eye. And then right below that, it says
eye-to-eye slings, tapered eye. Those are the ones that are the turned eye is what I said. Different people call it different things. So then those are the turned eyes. So here's all the part numbers. If you work at a cat dealer or you do a lot of business with a cat dealer, here's all the part numbers, all the 1U numbers. And these things aren't that expensive. It seems like, I mean, this was a few years ago, but I remember they weren't that expensive. It was probably $20 for some of the smaller ones and maybe 30 or 40 for the bigger ones. So they are pretty reasonable. Well, they used to be. Who knows now anymore. And then here are the lifting eyes. So you can see they're here, the different lifting eyes. So these are actually fairly expensive from Caterpillar. So that number 1 there is the smallest one, and it is, 3/8. So these things seemed like they were about 40 or $50 a piece. These were very expensive. But again, if you work at a cat dealer or you're a good customer or something, you can, just charge them out or whatever. And there is an actual operating, so just a little FYI on these lifting brackets. If you could see that there, it says NEHS 1064 tool operating manual. So these are rated. So like if you look at, let's do number 5. Number 5 is rated for 10,000 pounds working load. But if you want the full working load, you have to follow the procedure in that tool operations manual, and it'll explain how to get it to 10,000. There's a certain bolt size, certain bolt torque, and all that. But if you're just lifting like a DPF or something, you're not anywhere near the lifting limit. I just put a bolt or whatever. So there is that. This is also the same catalog, the Caterpillar Dealer Service Tools catalog.